Yo, what's good, YouTube? Sam Crow here, aka Scoop, back with the International Draft Masters season number 3, and we've got the quarterfinals here, round 1 of the playoffs, and we're facing off against Skyrise, coach of the Goldenrod, Zebstrikas, and as always, we are coach of the Blackmont Raikougars. That's never going to change, I don't believe. Anyways, we faced off against Goldenrod in week 2, many weeks ago. A lot of weeks ago, back in September or so, and he picked up a convincing 3-0, I think 3-0 win versus us. His squad is problematic to deal with, and I kind of over prepped for the Volcarona. So that being said, I don't want to do that again. We'll go over his squad again, though. He's got Celestilla, Mega Medichim, Glitskor, Volcarona, Porygon 2, Seismitoad, Raikou, Zoroark, Whimsicott, the Latios, and the Lapras, where his Z-move users are the Zoroark and the Volcarona. And our squad hasn't changed outside of our post-draft transactions. We have Landorus Therian, which is a Z-move user, Zeraora, Como-O, Necrozma, Scizor, Primarina, Incineroar, which is a Z-move user, Decidueye, Glaceon, which is our third Z-move user. We've got Mega Diancie, Tauros, and the Garbodor. And this week, or for round 1 of the playoffs, we've decided to bring Landorus Therian, Zeraora, Como-O, Necrozma, Primarina, and the Mega Gardevoir. So last time, things that were problematic were the Glitskor, the Seismitoad, and the Celestilla. Very problematic for my squad, and I think Porygon would have been too if it would have hit the field more often. So I felt what I wanted to do was kind of put a little bit of pressure on those mons that were problematic for me in the last match. So what mon did that better than Primarina? So the team's kind of built around a Life Orb Primarina. We've got a modest max special attack, max HP, Life Orb Primarina with Scald and Moonblast, and then we've got Rest and Sleep Talk so that we can, once Life Orb Recoil brings us down, or we take a few hits from some of his other mons, we might have to rest up, and then we can abuse Sleep Talk with Life Orb, Scald, and Moonblast coming out of that. As long as we don't roll a rest, we should be in a pretty solid position throughout the match. This thing pressures the Glitskor. It doesn't want to take a modest Life Orb Scald at all. Celestilla doesn't want to take it and then try to take on Mega Diancie, as well as being chipped down by Landorus, Zeraora, and Necrozma at the same time. It pressures Seismitoad as well. Moonblast is a 2-hit KO. And this is a mon that Volcarona can't set up on. So yeah, this thing gives me all kinds of things that I need. And so I built my team around it. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Alright, so our first mon was Landorus Therian, and we've got the Grounium Z. So last time we brought a Scarf variant with knockoff, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and U-Turn, I believe. Basically to try to catch him off guard. I didn't think he would expect my Landorus when he had things like Celestilla, Glitskor, so on and so forth. I built it kind of bulky so it could always take a +1 hit from Volcarona and then knock out with a Scarf Stone Edge, and if it was never set up, then I'd always outpace and knock it out with Stone Edge. Earthquake Spam was really nice with Celestilla and Glitskor gone. Unfortunately, those mons are hard to get rid of. He's also got the Latios and the Whimsicott, but those can get beat down. Whereas Celestilla and Glitskor, they're always like somehow getting back to full. Anyways, I felt like this Gravity set with the Grounium Z could catch my opponent off guard really nicely. I've got the Hidden Power Ice so I can two-hit KO the Glitskor and pressure it. It's either gonna have to switch out or it's gonna take the Hidden Power Ice and it'll be weakened for Mega Diancie or Zeraora. And if Glitskor is gone, if Glitskor and Seismitoad are gone, Zeraora has a field day versus his team, can just spam like Thunderbolt or Plasma Fist or Volt Switch or anything like that. So yeah, I can click Gravity. I think Gravity is always my first play in case he goes hard into Celestilla. If he goes hard into Celestilla or Glitskor, I could Swords up and see what he wants to go for. If he reveals Hidden Power Ice on Celly or Ice Fang on Glitskor, I can gauge the damage and then switch accordingly. So Earthquake should be able to pick up a 2-hit KO on Celestilla after the Gravity, and after a Swords Dance it should maybe Oko after Stealth Rocks. Same thing for Glitskor. +2 Grounium Z should knock him out with the with the gravity up, which is really nice. And Hidden Power Ice, like I mentioned, is there to chip away at it. It also hits the Raikou and the Whimsicott harder than Earthquake does, which is really nice. Unless I am Swords Dance up, then I'll click Earthquake versus Whimsicott. Obviously, Latios is immune. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty cool set. It's not that fast. It's not fast at all, actually. It outpaces, I think, max speed Seismitoad and minimal speed investment for always. It always outpaces max speed Seismitoad and Celesteela, and then has enough speed to outpace like a minimally invested Gliscor and things that could be fast but decide to run more bulk or something like that. So yeah, that's going to be the set for Orlando, and we can hop into Zeraora now. Alright, so like I mentioned, his team is pretty much food to this monster. I've decided to run an Expert Belt variant. This thing puts out some nice damage output and doesn't take recoil like Life Orb would give me. And I do expect some mons to be able to roost up and recover up, so I didn't want to take Life Orb recoil and be beat down that way. I felt like Expert Belt gave me the most damage output. Plus, most of the moves that I'm going to be clicking are not going to be super effective anyway, except like Celesteela is going to be hit super effectively by Plasma Fist, Gliscor by Hidden Power Ice, Porygon 2 by the Close Combat, Seismitoad by the Grass Knot, Zoroark by the Close Combat, Whimsicott and Latios by the Ice or the Hidden Power Ice, and the Lapras by the Plasma Fist. So he's only got Mega Medicham and Volcarona, and Raikou, which can avoid a super effective hit. So I felt like Expert Belt was really nice with my attack investment and special attack investment, despite having a negative special attack nature. These mons are all 2-hit KO'd or OHKO'd, and I do expect Seismitoad to run a Rendo Berry so it can avoid being bought by the Grass Knot or Hidden Power Grass on some of my mons, so on and so forth. So that thing will either be 3-hit KO'd or 2-hit KO'd always. I don't think it's ever going to be OHKO'd or anything like that. And I'm able to run enough speed to outpace the Whimsicott, and basically everything else follows suit from there. Whimsicott and Raikou being his 2 fastest mons, and we can outpace those with a adamant nature, which is really nice. So yeah, we can move on to Como-O now. And with Como-O, we've got a Taunt, Dragon Tail, Flamethrower, Stealth Rock variant. This thing's our designated Stealth Rocker. Has the Piappa Berry so that we can avoid a Psychinium Z Psychic from the Volcarona. This is our Volcarona check. We can take 1 hit always and Dragon Tail it out. We can taunt it. We can get up Stealth Rocks and punish it really badly. Dragon Tail does pretty much damage to everything on his squad outside the Whimsicott, which Flamethrower is there for, and Flamethrower is also nice for the Celesteela. And then, like I mentioned, we can taunt, prevent his rockers from getting rocks up unless he's rocking the Gliscor or Speedy Seismitoad or something like that. Could be problematic in terms of him getting his hazards up. But otherwise, if he's not that fast or anything, we can taunt him, prevent his rocks, and then get our rocks up, which could be nice. We've got the bulletproof ability. I don't think it would come in too big of play here, but none of our abilities here really mattered too importantly. Basically a Volcarona check and has our designated Stealth Rocker. So that's going to be it for Como-O, and we can move on to Brainiac, our Necrozma. Alright, so our Necrozma is quite different. We have a 3 attacks Morning Sun variant. We have Photon Geyser and Heat Wave, both of which are going to be special attack. Photon Geyser goes by your attack stats, and my special attack is going to be higher than my attack for this matchup. We've got Photon Geyser and Heat Wave for the majority of his squad. We've got Knockoff there because he has things like Gliscor, which might want to run a Poison Heal, or excuse me, a Toxic Orb. And getting rid of that would be nice. Getting rid of leftovers on Selly is super nice, and Eviolite on Porygon 2 is really nice. And then getting rid of a potential Rendo Berry on the Seismitoad is really nice too. So all that being said, that's really nice, and it also hits the Latios for the most damage, and this thing can't be a Z-move user, so clicking Knockoff versus that Latios and getting rid of its item and then chipping it down is really nice, despite having a minus attack nature. And then Morning Sun allows us to roost up, or get our health back, basically. We can take hits from Mega Medicham and the Latios pretty well. Specs Draco into Specs Draco doesn't knock us out, and High Jump Kick into any other move from Mega Medicham doesn't knock us out either, which is really nice. And Photon Geyser knockoff does quite a bit to those two. Celesteela doesn't appreciate Heat Wave, especially with the rest of my squad pressure in it as well. And this thing can take hits from a few mons and dishes out pretty good damage and can recover it, which is nice. But that's going to be it for Necrozma, and we can move on to Primarina, which we'll talk about briefly since we talked about it at the beginning of the team builder. So like I was saying, this thing's got Scald, Moonblast, Rest, and Sleep Talk with Life Orb, modest max special attack, max HP, so I can take a few hits, and I'm putting out the most damage possible outside of like choice specs, and the coverage is basically perfect. He doesn't have a switch in to both typing, Scald and Moonblast, Water and Fairy at the same time. He doesn't have one of those, and I think this thing can pressure his squad to where things like Zeraora and Mega Diancie can put in the work. I think after Landorus, Therian, Necrozma, and Primarina put in their work, I think Zeraora and Mega Diancie will be in a phenomenal position. So that being said, we can move on to Mega Diancie now. We're running a Timid Nature, so, well, actually it's like a Hasty, I believe. A Hasty Nature so that we can always speed tie, at least with the Latios. And then we have enough special attack investment to always knock out a Mega Medicham with Moonblast, and Diamond Storm is always going to knock out Volcarona no matter what. But if he is a specially defensive Celesteela, since I did bring Moonblast, Power Gem, Hidden Power Fire, I think last time versus his squad, I think that he could potentially run a Spadef set, and in which case Diamond Storm 2-hit KOs upon switching. So if he comes on into rocks, takes a Diamond Storm, the following Diamond Storm should knock him out if he's more especially defensive. If he's got any kind of defense, then, you know, that won't happen, but hopefully that's not the case, or he's chipped in range of Diamond Storm anyway. We do rock a sub Endeavor set, so if it comes like to max HP Celesteela versus max HP Mega Diancie, or Gliscor versus Mega Diancie, or even Seismitoad versus Mega Diancie, I can just sub up continuously until I'm at so low that once I Endeavor, they're at like 1 or 2% as well, and then any of my next mons can knock it out. It's really nice for Zeraora if I can Endeavor, Gliscor, or Seismitoad, or both. That would be insane. But yeah, that's the general idea for Mega Diancie, is to open holes for Zeraora as well. But if Primarina and Landorus do their job, then all kinds of doors will be open for Zeraora and Mega Diancie. So yeah, we can go ahead and hop into the replay now and see what's going to happen. Alright, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent does bring the Celesteela, Seismitoad, Gliscor, and the Porygon 2 again. And he also brings the Raikou and the Latios. The Latios of which he didn't bring last time. And I'm not so sure if he brought the Raikou last time. I know he brought Mega Medicham, Celesteela, Gliscor, Porygon 2, Seismitoad, and I think Raikou was his last mark. So yeah, the only difference this time is he brings the Lati over the Mega Medicham. So I'm going to expect that thing to be a Choice Scarf variant, so that it can always outpace like Choice Scarf Landorus and the rest of my potential Choice Scarfers, as outside of Zeraora, as well as being able to always outpace Mega Diancie as long as his item is intact. So looking at a squad, he's got 2 potential Stealth Rockers in Seismitoad and Gliscor. More than likely going to be the Seismitoad, as it provides a decent lead versus like Mega Diancie and Landorus Therian, whereas because like Landorus is more prone to Hidden Power Ice than Hidden Power Grass, in my opinion, especially with Gliscor on field, and Earthquakes would do better versus something like Seismitoad anyway. So I have 3 potential Stealth Rockers. Well, actually, I got 4 potential Stealth Rockers in Landorus, Como-O, Necrozma, and Mega Diancie. So he may not lead versus, again, like, Seismitoad is his best lead in my opinion. So I'm going to lead off with my Como-O, and I'm going to try to taunt him and then get my Stealth Rocks up. Unfortunately, he outpaces my Como-O, and he's able to get a Toxic off. But I am able to taunt him, so we're going to see what he goes for here. He goes for the Earth Power. He doesn't have the Volcarona, so I don't mind to trade this 1v1 right now. But I am going to hard switch out into my Primarina, very, very bulky on the Spadef side, and I can fire off a very, very powerful Moonblast here, as now things are really, really opened up for Zeraora. Unfortunately, my opponent can get his rocks up here as the taunt ends on the perfect turn. A little bit unfortunate, and Primarina pretty much, I guess I could rest up on Porygon 2, but outside of that, I can't really rest on the squad at this point, unless he locks himself into Draco with the Lottie. And he brings in Gliscor here, so I'm assuming he's going to Revenge Kill me here. I'm just going to switch out into Como. It serves absolutely no purpose in the match at this point, so, especially since he didn't bring the Volcarona. I don't need it at all. And yeah, he's going to knock us out here. I don't think the crit mattered. I think he would have 2-hit KO'd us regardless. But we are going to bring in Landorus here and see what he wants to do, as we're going to go for the Swords Dance, predicting him to switch out. Now, our best play was probably Hidden Power Ice into Groundium Z on the Porygon 2, if he went that. But in case he went Celesteela, I wanted to go hard for the Swords Dance, so that on the following turn I could just Gravity, and then he would have no switch in, no matter what. But my opponent, he prepped really well this time, made up for his mistake in their last game. Had I brought this Landers in our last game, I'd have probably won. But he definitely patched up that hole in his game, or in his prep, and he is able to 2-hit KO us here. He gets a higher roll on the second Ice Fang, knocks us out, which is a little bit unfortunate. So now at this point, I see only one way to win, and that's with Zeraora. So what I got to do is weaken the Gliscor so that Zeraora can go in a little bit. And by weakening, or my only way to weaken Gliscor is to do this. I have to Endeavor. I have to sub all the way down to 13%, and then Endeavor. It drops him down to 9%. His Toxic Orb brings him back up to 22%. However, we can knock him out with the Hidden Power Ice here, 100%. And now he doesn't really have the best switch in. I guess Raikou is his best play. But what we can do is we could stay in, or we could hard switch out. We're going to sack off our Primarina here, see what he wants to go for, as he goes for the Shadow Ball. So that's unfortunate. What I did see, though, was without his specs, he can't knock us out with 2 Shadow Balls. What I didn't recognize, though, is that without his specs, he could switch it up into Thunderbolt, and then Shadow Ball into Thunderbolt actually does knock us out. So I didn't see that coming. What I saw coming was getting rid of his item and then surviving any one hit here. But I think the min roll for Thunderbolt there was 44%, and it's on Zeraora now. It's on Zeraora. I go for the Plasma Fist because close combat couldn't knock him out from that range anyway, and if I click close combat, then he would have been able to knock us out with the Shadow Ball. So I didn't want to do that, and now this Latios is screaming Scarf, and it does turn out to be Scarf. So I am going to lose 3-0 again to Sky, but he's a phenomenal battler. Losing to any of the players in playoffs right now, Sky, Aki, and Pledge, losing to any of those guys wasn't going to be too big of a disappointment, because I consider those guys some of the best players I've ever played. And yeah, I guess it is a little bit unfortunate. After our Season 2 and our Season 3 run, we've had pretty successful seasons in terms of regular season. I felt like this season we could have probably went 10-1 outside of some hacks in our game with Pledge, misplays in our game with BEML and Aki, miscalc in the game with Aki. That's a little bit unfortunate. And I felt like maybe Nova should have beat us too, and he choked our Week 3 game away. But outside of that, I think our most legitimate loss was to Skyrise, and losing to him in the playoffs makes sense because he had a pretty convincing win in the regular season. But yeah, that's going to be it. Skyrise is going to advance to play Aki VGC in the semifinals, and Nova Hawk defeated the Confusion to advance into the semifinals against Pledge as well. So that's hype. Look out for those. I will try to record those live and upload those. If not, I'm definitely going to try to do a little recap on the semifinals anyway if I miss them live. And then I'm definitely going to try to get the finals live. So that's going to be that. Let me know what you thought about the prep and play on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.